You know, I'm actually glad people are just now getting into blockchain and crypto because when they find out that assets like Stellar are working with the United Nations Development Program to develop blockchain applications, the only question they're going to have is why hasn't anyone told me that a US based blockchain company is working with the United Nations to develop blockchain applications? That's what we're going to look to answer in this episode. Listen, if you're new, welcome. You guys got to forgive me. I've been under the weather the last couple of days, still in my voice, obviously. But my name is Wade. You're listening to another edition of the DHN Crypto Podcast. I've been in the space since 2019, and I've researched over 1,000 digital assets. The primary reason I sit here in front of this camera, share all that knowledge with you. All I'm asking in return, hit that subscribe button for me. I want to see this channel reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Definitely think that's possible. Today, we're going to focus on the latest development between Stellar and the United Nations. I'm also going to explain to you why Stellar's move into Europe, even though everybody is hooked on made in America crypto hysteria, I'm going to tell you why that move into Europe is the equivalent of a 4D chess move. So let's jump right into the meat of the story. Now, the United Nations, they have chose Stellar. And what they will be using Stellar for is to harness the network and open source tools to enhance access to digital financial services, facilitate transparent and efficient cross-border transactions, and provide more secure, low-cost digital payment solutions, including humanitarian aid, remittances, and national cash transfer programs. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Stellar's history with the United Nations goes all the way back. We talked about this subject in depth already on this channel, but Stellar is the only asset that has been actively working in Ukraine since the conflict broke out. A few months prior to it, actually, they had plans to develop a digital dollar, but when the conflict broke out, it altered the course of things. Still developing, it is still on its way. As a matter of fact, Prime Minister of Ukraine himself has come out, stated he's getting ready to use it. So, the history between Stellar and the United Nations. I was making sure I had the right article here because I wanted to highlight a point to you. I had to go back to this press release. A certain quote stood out to me. This one here: the pilot phase of the project is designed specifically for Ukraine, but can be adapted worldwide. So I had to reread that and reread that again and reread it one more time because what was taking place in Ukraine as a part of this UN refugee program: humanitarian aid, remittances, and national cash transfers. I believe once that story hit the market, we said this would only be the beginning. And here we are, which leads more so into the point of why I think this is a 4D chess move, and it's very important. We're going to get to that in a second. I want to show you something else as well, because this particular branch of the UN, which serves Europe and Central Asia. Let me see if I can pull up the main page. Let me show you the main page here because they have something written. It's very funny. From the heart of Europe to the Silk Road. Now, I almost jumped down that rabbit hole. I didn't want to do that to y'all. Longtime viewers, listeners of the channel, you know we've gone down that Silk Road before. It leads to a theory that I have about China's project, One Belt, One Road. Sometimes they call it the New Silk Road. Sometimes they call it the One Belt, One Road. It's got multiple names, but it's this giant infrastructure project that is going to, all right, everywhere you look, this is what they say, going to incorporate blockchain technology. That's why I almost jumped into it, but I didn't have to. That's a good thing. Now, let me go back to my original point here, these partners. So, there are two sets of partners that I'm going to draw your attention to. One would be the DAC partners. The reason is their mission lines up with what this development is aimed at. Our DAC partners, vital in UNDP's mission to work with countries to expand people's choices for a fairer, sustainable future, to build the world envisioned by the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, also known as SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals. Now, this piece here. Together, we offer integrated solutions to tackle inequality, reduce poverty, promote good governance, build resilience to shock and crisis, address climate change, and put the world on a green recovery path. They wrote chants there. Interesting. But my focus is this integrated solutions to tackle inequality and reduce poverty. Simply put, guys, these SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals, I'm going to summarize it like this. The SDGs are a 15-year plan created by the United Nations in 2015 to improve the planet. It's 2025. This is where you may have heard, well, when you hear achieved by 2030, they're talking about these. What's interesting is that the number one goal, okay, is to eradicate poverty. And I find this particular detail to be oh so interesting. By 2030, they look to ensure that all men and women, in particular the poor and vulnerable, have equal rights to economic resources as well as access to basic services, ownership and control over land and other forms of property. Financial inclusion, anyone? Wait, let me finish. Inheritance, natural resources, appropriate new technology and financial services, including microfinance. For years, I had wondered why I would research blockchain projects and they all carried the badge or the colors. When I talk about the badge, it's typically a circle that has this exact same color pattern, this logo right here. Take a look. Ripple, Hedera, XDC, Quant, Algorand, they've all touched on it at one point in time in the past. Now I fully understand why. It's an overarching agenda that truly supports the world that we are heading towards. So, with Stellar continuing their relationship with the United Nations, don't get no much better than that. And with all this talk about US-based companies, like I said, Stellar is pulling off a 4D chess move. Because wherever Stellar goes, I'm learning, this company tends to follow. Circle is the stablecoin issuer for USDC. We know USDC and Stellar have a very, very strong relationship. And one of the biggest players in that relationship is, of course, MoneyGram. Now, in July, Circle was the first stablecoin issuer in the world, in the market, to receive the EU MiCA compliance or the MiCA license. This essentially makes it one of the few money transmitters in the EU that can provide services that use their stablecoin legally. I bring that up because if they plan on, in Europe and Central Asia, if they plan on using it the same way the UN Refugee Agency did, that adds even more significance to MiCA's compliance and the timing of everything. Because to my knowledge, this placed Stellar first out there when it comes to building out an ecosystem under these new laws. Very impressed, guys. And then you also have to consider, are the anchors, which are Stellar's on and off ramps. Now, the UN agency for Europe and Central Asia, alongside the DAC, which you can see their donors here, Japan, Sweden, Switzerland, Germany, UK, Denmark, America, Netherlands, Norway, Korea? Republic of Korea. I'm going to go ahead and assume that. Maybe wrong. But our focus here, Czech, Polish, Slovak, and Turkey, UNDP partnerships. I highlight those because Stellar has anchors in those same countries. Let's zoom in here so that way I can show you that. I had them pulled up. Okay, so there's Turkey. We have Turkey. And what you'll notice is you have MasterCard and Binance Pay. So the MasterCard on-ramp and the Binance on-ramp. So that gives us two opportunities here. MasterCard crypto credentials. So businesses in Turkey that want to use the XLM network now have that credential on there. Automatic, right? And then on the other end, you have the recent situation with USDC Circle and Binance becoming best of friends and incorporating their tech stack into Binance's ecosystem. Circle did, right? We already know how close Circle and Stellar are. And that leads to one of the theories I put forth in that episode. We will see more collaboration between Circle, Binance, and Stellar. Taking a look at the partner countries for the Euro-Asia connection, Turkey. The second one was Slovakia, and we have that one here as well. Oh guys, trust me, it took me a minute to fish through these. Slovakia and Poland. Here's where things get interesting. You'll notice there are a few more on-ramps for Poland and Slovakia. You got MasterCard, you got Binance. So, same story applies. But there's another one here. SEPA. It's the Single Euro Payments Area. Primary payment system, architecture, infrastructure, whatever you want to call it, for the European Union. You want to know something about SEPA? They exclusively use ISO 20022. And they have been since March of last year. Already did it. Now, don't get too excited, because at this point, I have not seen record of activity in specifically Poland and Slovakia when it comes to Stellar. I haven't seen it, but you sleuths out there, if you guys find something, shoot it my way. I'm pretty active on X now because they've improved the heck out of that platform. So send it to me. But to my knowledge, I have not seen any activity in those areas. However, the moment we see a headline of a company in Poland using Stellar or a company in Slovakia using Stellar, we know exactly what it means. I also brought this up too, and this content will come out later. We already discussed this with the members. Polkadot, in that same area, ladies and gentlemen, through a collaboration with two companies called Harbor and Velocity Labs, they created a magic ramp. Funnily enough, Polkadot and Stellar are also connected through payment channels. The what they call it, spacewalk, pendulum bridge. We're gonna talk about it. So, another reason, all the more reason why I said Stellar is out here playing 4D chess with these kids, man. Stellar is an open source network with a growing global influence. I'm gonna say that again. Stellar is an open source network with a growing global influence. You should have been in it yesterday. Now we're going to end with this little bit here. I want to share this clip with you. This wallet actually came out at the end of last year, but with the speed of everything going on since the election, you guys got to forgive me, all right? I still got a lot of content on built up waiting for y'all this week. But we're going to jump into this clip. This is the Akuna wallet created by Idris Alba and his team. And their focus, of course, is the African market, but it's specifically content creators in the African market. Let's dive into this.
Creators being able to change the narrative need output, need studios, need facilities, need all kinds of things. But this is one segment of that puzzle. To me, as a creator, having to think about all of those different components when you're just a creator and you want to pay people feels like a bit of a headache.
Literally having to pay everybody in cash, because again, that's the only way we could pay people was a bit of a challenge for me.
It's also building capacity and finance. Those are the things I think that we're lacking, that we need more of, because the talent, there's abundance of talent.
A creator economy is huge. It turns out that in Africa, that whole sector is underserved. Across the continent, there are somewhere like 1,400 cinemas across the entire continent of Africa. And that feels like there's something missing right there. There isn't a single African-owned output. We spent time in West Africa to just understand the creative sectors, what their bottlenecks are, what they were going through, and the Akuna wallet is our solution so far. It's no secret that often the landscape of Africa, as told by media, news or whatever, is often skewed in one way. It's like it's trauma. You know, everywhere in Africa is in conflict. The narrative isn't actually told by Africans.
Couple things. One, there's a post that Danielle Dixon, she reposted this, and she added the detail that the Bank of Ghana is also behind this somewhere. Details are very, very slim right now. When you go over to their website, they are still on waiting list status, which is just fine. There was another wallet created by a celebrity in Africa that was supposed to be on the Stellar chain. It didn't quite work out too well. Talking about you, Akon. But hopefully this turns out a lot better than that experience. Idris has been down with the Stellar Development Foundation with crypto for a number of years now. So to see him actually putting his hands in and not just showing up makes a lot of sense. Now, I did a little bit of digging into the creator economy in Africa. I was very surprised. As a matter of fact, so it's estimated right now at $3 billion, the market size for content creators in Africa. However, it is projected to do 20 billion, maybe 25 billion over the next 5 years. By comparison, here in the United States, we're already at 150 billion, but we started the trend, and now the rest of the world is about to follow suit. My only thing is, will Acuna make a way to increase ad spend in these countries? Now, I know most of you may not understand what that means, but other creators, you get what I'm talking about. The biggest issue, to my knowledge, for content creators in other countries is that ad spend difference. Advertisers will spend a lot more money here in America than they will in Africa, for example. So that also shows you the opportunities that could be addressed with this new wallet. So shouts to Idris Elba for sure, man, for putting this together. And again, all together, you need to understand that a lot of people don't know what's coming when it comes to XLM, guys. So with that, let me remind you, you guys got to pick up some very key tools. All right, I should have had them prepared up here. Number one being the DHN Blockchain Starter Kit. This is the key not only to successfully navigating the crypto space if you're new, but this is also the key to the entire DHN ecosystem. If you want to get in touch with me on social, it'll have the links there. You want to chat with me directly, check out Manek. That's a pretty cool piece of technology that I'm experimenting with. You also get the 5 verticals of blockchain, the adoption model, criteria for evaluating digital assets of any kind. I'll never tell you to invest in the assets we cover over here. Our conversation, new financial system, new global financial system. Shout out to Chainlink. But I put that criteria together so that way, no matter what you decide to look into, if it has these 4 factors, if they execute on these 4 things very well, you've made the right choice. You also get links to various blockchain networks, including organizations to follow, ladies and gentlemen. The UN is definitely one of those organizations that you want to follow. And then links to various news and analytics outlets as well. A lot of numbers, a lot of information comes at you very quickly in crypto. That's why I gave you this list, so that way you kind of have, a shield up, something to brace yourself when this information comes at you. And then another way to support the channel, guys, that'll be down here. Check out Uphold, check out Robinhood, and check out our educational products on the DHN crypto website, digihustlenetwork.com. Promise you, it'll save you years of time. So with that, y'all know what time it is. I missed y'all. Glad to be back. We got a lot to cover this week. So if that money is digital, so is the hustle.